Hello and welcome to Defense India podcast. And before we start this video, please do like, share and subscribe to the channel. Hello and welcome to another edition of Defense India podcast, the podcast where we discuss matters pertaining to India's internal security. And joining me on the podcast is our expert on internal security, Vicky Nanjappa. Vicky, welcome to the podcast once again.
Thanks, Akash. Thank you so much.
So, Vicky, today we are going to, have a conversation about a topic that has been many a times spoken about on this podcast, and the topic is Khalistan. So, of course, as we're talking today, it's a Sunday, and in Canada, after a few hours, there's going to be a referendum again in Canada. The Khalistani referendum is going to take place, though India once again has, voiced its concern about how Canada. On one side, they speak about, President Justin Trudeau says that they want to have a healthy relationship with India and want to, discuss matters of serious concerns with India. But on the other hand, the Canadian government and the administration over there, the local administration, they are allowing such kind of referendums to take place on their land. So how do we view this kind of a situation that on one hand Canada is, it's just words when it comes to, tackling the issue of Khalistan, but on the other hand, they're giving them a free hand.
Yeah, that's true, Akash. As we speak, issue is not new at all, and it has been going on. And courtesy this referendum, which is going to happen tomorrow, and also the vandalization of a Hindu temple, and plus, of course, the threat which was handed over to the MP by Gurpatwant Singh Pannun of the Sikhs for Justice, has once again, reignited the whole issue there. And the thing is, Chandra Arya, this one member of Parliament from the Liberal Party, he is the one who brought it up, following this threat, and then he said that these Khalistan elements are violating the Charter of Rights, I'm sorry. He said, working against the Canadian values was what Pannun told. Said in his threat out there. So now, and he also, tells Arya that it's time for you to go back to India because you are speaking more about Indian interests. What I see is that these people are becoming, more and more aggressive, and there's also while a section within Justin Trudeau's party feels that that this is going out of control, there is a large number which still feel that need these elements to win elections, considering the diaspora is so big out there, and this is just going to kind of blow up in the face, like what we are seeing in the UK. That extreme amount of migration that happened, and you see these violent incidents that take place on the street. And such incidents have already been reported in Canada, and it's only going to get worse if it is unchecked. And on the India context, if you ask me, is that it is definitely a threat to us, because the whole idea is to sit and disrupt peace in Punjab, which has not exactly happened. That we have been discussing that over and over again, but it's still an irritant. And when the Canadian authorities blame some people within the Indian agency of carrying out the assassination, or being part of a plot to kill Niger out there. So these are all kind of irritants. And when the world is in such a difficult situation, do you want one more internal problem which is happening in Canada, which has got every potential to spread to other parts of the world, like US and UK, where it has already spread. So I think, it's time to rein in this menace as soon as possible.
Yeah, Vicky, because there were time and again, whenever we spoke about the Khalistan issue in Canada, we have spoken in length and we have said that Canada time and again has just used words to counter the allegations that it is harboring the Khalistani terror elements on its soil, but they have done nothing substantial in terms of putting some curbs on them or some sanctions on them or anything like that. And to be very and to if we say talk about in terms of showing the double standard. So this current event that is going to happen, it is going to be on a government land. So and the most funny part about this is that the local administration over there is saying that it's a government owned land and anything can happen on it and we cannot do anything about it. People can come and gather and do whatever they can. So this feels like a little bit of double talk from Canada's side when it comes to dealing with the mess. And as you said, that now the people of Canada are also feeling the heat of what their government is doing. But time and again, why Justin Trudeau is still fanning the Khalistani elements in his own country? That's the biggest question.
Yeah, that's very true. It's kind of funny that they say that that they cannot do anything about it. Knowing fully well that there's a temple that has been vandalized. There is an MP who has been issued an open threat. And on the other hand, Canada is the same country that wants to sit and preach human rights to India also. So something clearly is not adding up. And Trudeau is under the impression, or he feels that by reining in these elements that he's not going to win the elections, or his government may collapse and things like that. And for these short-term gains, like political interests of a few and things like that, you're letting a moment just blow up into something that can go beyond control. Kind of paying homage in Parliament. It's getting a little too fishy, and it's getting a little too irritating to see that Canada so blindly sitting over such issues, and to allow them to have a referendum take place on government soil is just making it more and more blatant that we just don't care about what India is saying, or what certain countries who understand what exactly this problem, what they're trying to say basically. And we have also always discussed is that this is a set of elements which are getting very desperate. That is one thing. Ideally, they would have wanted some trouble in Punjab and more traction in Punjab and things like that, which our Indian security agencies have done a fantastic job, in keeping that under check, because there were plenty of such attempts. But I don't know, Akash. The thing is whether if something really major happens out there, considering the aggression of these people, with the kind of political patronage they enjoy, and plus the money and the support that they've got from the ISI, I think they're going to start targeting people out there. They'll start, vandalizing properties. They're going to start getting more and more desperate. It's kind of going to go out of control because, to be very honest, I think Canada is playing with fire.
Absolutely, Vicky. Canada is definitely playing with fire. And to be very honest, if we talk about the hypocrisy of Canada, on one hand, when the farm protests were happening in India, Justin Trudeau was sitting comfortably in Canada and then tweeting that we stand, Canada stand with the protesting farmers of Punjab. And when the same Sikh community, a lot of them are truckers in Canada, they did this huge protest in Canada, we saw with what ironclad, strength Canada came down on those truckers also. So that kind of a double talk is definitely what Canada has been doing when it comes to India. And of course, I think the people of Canada are also kind of fed up with what is being done by their own government. And you talked about how Canada is trying to fuel these kind of such elements in India also. And to be very honest, most of the people might not be knowing this thing because it is not in the news as of yet. But from February 2024, there were a group of farmers that were protesting, and they were planning to march to Delhi once again. The repetition of what we have seen in 2020, the farmers protest, and they were planning to come to Delhi, march to Delhi, and then they were blocked on the Haryana border, the Shambu border, and now the Supreme Court has said that you cannot block the whole border. You have to find some other remedies in order to stop these people from, if you don't want them to pass through your state. So that is what the Supreme Court has said. So could be a possibility that we can see a farm protest 2.0 very soon. And seeing the current situation of the Modi government, do you feel that it is going to be even much more worse what we have seen during the previous farm protest and the kind of agitation we saw on the Republic Day at the Red Fort?
Yeah, see, one thing is that the last time that the farmer protest happened, there was a lot of talk, and there was a lot of, intelligence which said that, external elements have also, penetrated this movement, this farmers protest, and that is why, it doesn't seem to be dying down, and then finally it died down, once the bill was withdrawn, the Prime Minister himself spoke and then said that the farm laws are being withdrawn and they'll be introduced at a later date following consultation. Now we have got a fair enough idea that there is going to be another protest that is going to happen. If you see, Leader of Opposition also has met with the farmer leaders recently,
Right.
And there's every sign that something is going to take place and take place very soon. So I think in the Indian context, what should happen is, one is keep a solid check on the kind of funding that is coming from across the border. That is one, the kind of elements that, some of these farmer leaders are going to meet with, and, those kind of things, we need to take a very precautionary stance on that to ensure that, it just, there is a right to protest. You can't stop anybody from protesting, but there's no right to violence. That is one thing is there. And should be very, very clear about that. I thought that the last time the security was not entirely prepared, and things just blew up in the face, and that's why it went so violent. This time there are enough and more precursors, and there has been an example in the past of how bad it went. If you remember the chaos that took place on Republic Day during that protest, we don't want these kind of things happening again. So I think India needs to act quick and be more prepared, because they may or may not protest, but at the end of it, you cannot let it become a nuisance value, because as we always say that when there is a trouble, organizations like these Babbar Khalsa and Lashkar-e-Taiba or Jaish-e-Mohammed, they tend to benefit, because they tend to stoke up passions. Lives are lost in protests and things, so that they reach out to families. They act as though they are the ones who are going to protect them. This has been their classic modus operandi. So I think this time there is a real need to be much more prepared, considering that we have seen instances like this in the past. We know that there could be external interference, and if also you look at what is happening in Jammu and Kashmir, you can see how desperate Pakistan has become now. So we need to be much more careful and really up our game before anything of this sort could take place.
Exactly, Vicky. And of course, you talked about that how farm leaders had a word with Rahul Gandhi, the leader of the opposition, and over there was a lot of drama that happened in the parliament. But post that, a former chief minister of Punjab and now an MP of the Congress who's sitting in the opposition has stroked another controversy which is related to Khalistan, and he's saying that Amritpal Singh, the Khalistani sympathiser, who is now an MP, should be allowed to practice his constitutional right and come and argue in the parliament. And of course, we all know what he's going to say. Although not many people are not aware of the fact, there is also another MP from Punjab who is a pro-Khalistani, and he has been winning time and again, but has never talked about the Khalistan movement or the proposal of Khalistan. But we cannot say the same about Amritpal Singh, who in open words has supported Khalistan and the idea of the formation of Khalistan. So why is Congress so desperate to once again stroke this topic of Khalistan again, when time and again they have said in political rallies we have heard the Congress party talking about Indira Gandhi and how she laid down her life for the integrity of the country. But people nowadays are very much aware of the Khalistan movement, the Bhindranwala era, and how Congress fanned that whole issue just to get political gains, and then how they let Punjab burn. So is Congress once again thinking of doing the same thing by allowing a person like Amritpal Singh to come out in the open and then bat for Khalistan?
If you see the former chief, I mean, if you listen into the former chief minister's statement, it's very clear that the manner and with the margin with which Amritpal Singh has won, despite being in jail,
right,
which only went on to show that months and months of just letting him loaf around in Punjab, with no action being taken, he has definitely managed to get some amount of traction, at least in certain pockets of Punjab, okay, which Congress would be looking to capitalize on now, and by talking sweet things about these people trying to capitalize, because their government is not in Punjab, so they they would want to stoke such sentiments and ensure that they perform electorally better there. But these are very dangerous statements, and it's a very tricky situation now. Because the thing is, the fact is that our democracy allowed such a person to be contesting the election, considering that he's not exactly under trial, or he's not been convicted as yet, or more importantly not convicted. So this person, I mean, he is a parliamentarian, whether we like it or not, or something like that. But issue is quiet. Nobody is really talking about it, and it was very clear from the Congress leader's statement that he is trying to reach out to a particular set of people with whom the likes of Amritpal Singh and the other Khalistan elements have managed to gain some amount of traction, and then try to kind of forge some kind of external alliance with them for political goals, so that they do better in the next elections that are coming up in Punjab. And I only see this, and why I don't know whether it is going to be successful or not, whether these elements will align with the Congress or not, that is to be seen. But if at all something that of that sort happens, then we are going to see a repeat of the 80s once again out there, because these elements, exactly like in Canada, we are going to support the government, we are going to get you the votes and things like that, and then they start becoming a nuisance value of them, and it is going to be much easier for them to do it in Punjab, considering the whole focus of theirs is originally Punjab and not Canada actually.
Exactly. Right, Vicky. And of course, we have to very closely watch what happens. Of course, we will be keeping an eye on what is going to happen in Canada, but of course, we are also going to keep a close eye on what is going to happen in India, because to be very honest, when you stroke an issue like Khalistan in India, and that too by a former chief minister of the state, which has faced the heat of the Khalistani, radicals, and is to some extent, if we talk about till the last few years, till the last year when Amritpal Singh was running wild in Punjab, we all witnessed those, videos where this horde of, people wielding swords were attacking a police station, and we saw that how, the law and order situation was just crumbling down under the pressure of Khalistan. It was only after, the CM of the state showed some spine, and they went after Amritpal Singh. We saw that man running from the cops and from the authorities for days in and out. So of course the state has the capacity of pinning down these kind of elements, but I don't understand why does it take them so much of time. What is the political gain that they find in terms of teaching these guys a strong lesson, so that nobody can talk about breaking the integrity of the country? But of course we will keep a close eye on what is going to happen in Canada, the referendum, and of course how India is going to react on that, though India currently has reacted pretty strongly against it. But of course, as in our previous episodes, we have talked about that CIA, the alleged CIA agent who has said that India has used the Taliban's networks to target these kind of elements. Hopefully India does that too in the coming days, and we get to hear some more good news from across the border. Well, on that note, thank you much, Vicky, for joining me on another episode of Defense India podcast, and thank you to all our viewers also.
Thank you so much, Akash. Thank you so much.